I don't know how you do it, Harold.
Yep.
Hey, just make fun of them.
I do not know how you do it. Like,
Hey, just have a good time with it. That's all.
well, yeah, that's fair.
Make a joke out of it because I mean, really, you really can't take them very seriously.
But we're going to have to, though, because we see in this country, they are getting more and more influence and more, look what happened in New York City. They have
Yeah,
a Muslim.
Because you live in a land where Judah and Ephraim dwell together. It's prophesied.
Yep.
Right? So Ephraim symbolizes the 10 lost tribes out of the northern kingdom, and then Judah is the southern kingdom. And Judah's already returned back to the land. They were supposed to get rid of their idolatry in the land. But instead they have their IDF women with their breasts hanging out. And they think they're going to win this war, but they're not. This is why Judah's treachery is worse than Israel's backsliding, but you got to warn them to flee, right? Messiah even said this, that they need to flee from that place. But don't think it's not going to come up to Mystery Babylon as well, the hammer of the whole earth. Alas, alas, that great city. You were supposed to learn the parable of the fig tree, right? That's the sixth seal, Isaiah 28, when the devil gets cast down to a proud and wicked end days generation of God's wrath that want to do pretty much every single pagan witchcraft in our Father's house, not keep the 10 Commandments, have their eating swine's flesh and the broth of all abominations are in their vessels, and they won't rebuke their neighbor, which is to love your neighbor as yourself.
You just brought up a good point. I was wanting to ask somebody this when you talk about Babylon. A lot of people reference Babylon as America being Babylon. What do you think about that?
Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to go over to Amos, where he says, let's go to Amos 5, right? Give me 2 seconds. All right, Amos chapter 5, all right? But I'm going to start in verse 26. But ye have borne the tabernacle of Moloch and Chiun, your images, the star of your God, which ye made to yourselves. Now, key verse right here. Therefore, I will cause you to go into captivity beyond Damascus, saith Jehovah, whose name is the God of hosts, right? So now, he says, I'll carry you in captivity beyond Damascus. Now, Stephen, before they stoned him to death for rebuking Judah, the Jews, because the Jews are just Judah. It's one tribe of 12, okay? He does a flipperoo here and literally says, let me find it right quick. In verse 43, chapter 7, yea, ye took up the tabernacle of Moloch, the star of your God Rephaim, figures which ye made to worship them, and I will carry you away beyond Babylon. Well, when this was written, Babylon was already destroyed. So Mystery Babylon, the hammer of the whole earth, the one who spread her whoredoms to the four corners of the earth, well, she's about to get destroyed. Exactly why they're saying, let's make America great again, right? When they say peace and safety, then comes sudden destruction. And do they not have the pride of Mystery Babylon plastered on their foreheads with their MAGA hats? But don't rail against your government. That's Romans 13. Every government is ordained to punish a wicked end days generation of God's wrath, right? When they sinned against God, Nebuchadnezzar was raised up. When they sinned against God, the Assyrian was raised up. And what happened before will happen again, but it's going to be worse than it's ever been or ever will be. This is why at the end of the world, Isaiah 44, Jacob, my servant, rises up out of the Gentiles, which is basically the northern kingdom, coming up out of their slumber and popping up out of the churches. But then, the Jews want to Judaize them, try to make them wear tassels, which is just symbolic to the 10 Commandments, to keep the outward adorning, right? They're even doing God's feast in the polluted land, even though Paul said, I have to go to Jerusalem to keep the feast. Tobit, in the book of Tobit, he had a bird crap in his eye. And then Daniel fasted while he was in captivity in Babylon. So we're not allowed to do God's feast in the polluted land. Everybody who's doing so, well, Isaiah 66, he that slayeth an ox as if he killed a man. So there's a peculiar group of people that are raised up in the end days that are a royal diadem, a holy priesthood, and righteous unto God. And their righteous is of me, thus saith Jehovah, right? That's written. And those people know that they're Jacob. They are the watchmen. This is Ezekiel 2, 3, and 33. Son of man, if I send a sword upon the land and you don't tell your people, if your hands are full of blood. But if you warn your people, their blood's upon their own head. whether they hear, whether they forbear, some with compassion making a difference, others with fear, plucking them up out of the fire, hating the garment stained by the flesh. So the true gospel is so simple. Let's stop doing Christmas and Easter in our Father's house. It's pagan witchcraft. There is no way around that. The devil comes like an angel of light. And aren't those lights so pretty on Christmas? Right? So the whole world's deceived except for the very elect. Let's keep the 10 commandments. Thou shalt have no other gods before Jehovah thy God. Thou shalt not worship any graven image on the earth, above the earth, or below the earth. Even the cross that they wear between their breasts, as is written in Hosea 2:2, plead with your mother, plead, for she is not my wife, neither am I her husband. Let her therefore put her abominations and her whoredoms from between her breasts. And then Isaiah 44, verse 13. The carpenter stretches out the rule, he marketh it out with the lines, he maketh it after the figure of a man, according to the beauty of a man, that it may remain in the house. Well, the Catholic Church has this guy on the cross, but then the Protestants wanted to take him off the cross, but the cross still remains in the house. That verse is actually telling you, pick up your cross and carry it, right? That's pick up your shepherd's staff of authority. So you were supposed to be a shepherd, right? But they, like men, have transgressed my covenant. They dealt treacherously against me. So why? Because Jeremiah 23 and Ezekiel 34, lying pastors. Woe to the shepherds that scatter my flock. They're not even teaching anybody about the second greater Exodus, because we live in Mystery Babylon. It's a spiritual condition of a people, their heart. You're not supposed to circumcise your Johnson anymore. It's a circumcision of the heart. Sanctify them in thy truth. Thy word is truth. In fact, the 10 commandments were in the Ark of the Covenant. This is why David said, engrave thy word on the tablet of my heart, that I may not sin against thee. So by the keeping of the 10 commandments is your righteousness. In fact, what is it? 1 John 2:4. Those who say I know him and keepeth not his commandments is a liar, and there's no truth in him. 1 John 5:3. How do we know that we love the children of God? By the keeping of his commandments, and his commandments aren't grievous. I mean, my goodness, the end of the book, Revelation 22:14. Blessed are those who keep the commandments of God, that they may have right to enter into the city and eat of the tree. And there's 12 gates, 12 tribes. You have to be grafted into the Commonwealth of Israel, which is Ephesians chapter 2, right? So don't worship any graven image on the earth, above the earth, or below the earth. Jeremiah chapter 10, learn not the ways of the heathen. They needs be born, for they cannot go. Marvel not that I tell you they needs be born. You're a wise man of Israel, and you don't understand these things? If I tell you about earthly things, and you don't understand those, how are you going to understand if I tell you about heavenly things? So we got to warn our neighbors this Christmas. Tell your neighbors and your brothers and your family, stop doing Christmas and Easter. It's pagan witchcraft in our Father's house. They're passing their children through the flames of Moloch. This is why demonic activity has increased tremendously, and people are waxing worse and worse and worse. Let the filthy be filthy still, right? That word still means more. Go on.
Okay, so you said not to celebrate Easter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how about the resurrection?
Where does it say celebrate the resurrection?
Okay, so are we not supposed to celebrate the resurrection of Christ?
No, we're supposed to go. This is a time of sorrow, lamentation, mourning, weeping, and woe. This is a time of rebuke, correction, exhortation with all long suffering and doctrine. We're not supposed to be celebrating anything. There's nothing to celebrate about. A lot of people are about to die. So we have to warn our people.
Okay, thank you for coming up, buddy. Oh, we're going to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Yeah. Because he has not, done, he has not done anything wrong to where we should not celebrate his resurrection. Because
but wait, there's more.
I mean, really, that deserved to be celebrated.
Hello. I'd like to just say everything that man said before me everything was the truth. And you need to listen to him, because according to Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 27 to 31, you're going to find yourself in great tribulation. And according to Isaiah 13, it's not very pretty what happens to women, children, and men in great tribulation. So I would urge you to go and read it, because when you do find yourself in tribulation, you're still going to have to keep the 10 Commandments there. You're still going to have to eat clean there, and you're going to have to still go out and fulfill the royal law and rebuke the sin so you can be saved. So it's much easier if you do it now and actually listen to what that man who said, that spoke before me, what he said, because everything he told you is the truth.
Number one.
And time is short. He was warned 2,000 years after the Messiah ascends to heaven. He was going to return.
Are you going to talk over me? Because you are on my live.
Okay.
So what I was trying to say is I don't celebrate Christmas. I don't celebrate Halloween, nor do I celebrate Easter. But I only celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but it doesn't tell us to do that for one anyway.
It doesn't matter if it does or doesn't.
Well, yeah,
this
it does.
Is the promise that Jesus himself made.
You're gonna
he was justified.
It does matter. So do you keep the 7th-day Sabbath, which is Saturday?
Okay, and we do keep the 7-day Sabbath. Now,
okay, so
I'm just speaking for myself. I'm speaking for myself. I don't know about everybody else. So, without that being said, the resurrection of Jesus Christ deserves to be celebrated.